Welcome back for another deep dive. You ready to get into it?
Absolutely. Always ready to dive in.
Okay, good. So today, we're going to be tackling climate change impacts.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, but we're not just talking about, like, the usual headlines.
Right.
We're going to be looking at the surprising and fascinating ways it's, like, reshaping the whole world around us.
Yeah, for sure.
So to do that, we've got a stack of sources. We've got expert interviews from that Facing Future video.
Mm-hmm.
We've got scientific reports from like the big names, National Geographic, the Smithsonian.
Love them.
Yeah, and then we're even taking a look at how like the land itself is changing from Earth's changing face.
It's really easy to get lost in all the doom and gloom.
Yeah.
But what I find fascinating is that all these sources, they reveal all the unexpected consequences, all the like ripple effects that we don't always think about when we think about climate change.
Yeah, totally. Like I knew about rising temperatures, obviously,
All right.
but like the idea that the tropics are literally expanding
Yeah.
or that Tornado Alley is shifting.
Great.
It's like the whole map is changing, like being redrawn.
Exactly.
So let's start with like the fundamentals, I guess.
Okay, sure.
National Geographic, they do a really good job of just explaining like the greenhouse effect in simple terms.
Yeah, they do.
Basically, we are like pumping the atmosphere full of all these heat-trapping gases.
Yeah.
And mainly that's from burning fossil fuels.
Yeah.
And that's just causing the planet to warm up.
It's like we're wrapping the Earth in a giant blanket.
Yeah, like a thick, heavy blanket.
Not a very breathable one.
No. So, okay, that's the big picture. But then Earth's changing face goes into like some really specific and almost mind-boggling details.
Yeah.
Like, did you know that the Sahara Desert has grown by 10% since 1920?
It's amazing how much the landscape can change in such a short period of time. And it's not just about the size of the desert either.
Right.
It's about what that means for the people who are living right on the edges of these deserts.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about desertification.
Which can lead to people having to migrate,
Mm-hmm.
conflicts over all the increasingly scarce resources, and even political instability. So it's a human story as much as an environmental one.
That's a good point. Like I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the abstract science.
Right.
But these changes are having very, very real human consequences.
Absolutely.
And it's not just happening in like far off places either.
No.
So Earth's changing face also talks about how the 100th meridian,
Uh-huh.
that's that like invisible line, right? That divides like the humid east from the drier west in the US.
Yeah, it's a major geographic boundary.
So it's shifted. It's moved eastward by something like 140 miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the people who live there?
Well, imagine you're a farmer and you've been growing wheat for generations, like your family has been doing it.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, your land is just too dry.
Yeah.
So you have to adapt.
Right.
Maybe try growing different crops, or you even have to relocate your whole farm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it disrupts entire livelihoods and communities.
That's crazy. It really shows, though, how interconnected everything is.
Yeah,
How seemingly small shifts can have just massive domino effects.
precisely. And these changes are happening faster than we realize. National Geographic, they point out that the current carbon dioxide levels are higher than they've been in hundreds of thousands of years.
It's pretty shocking. Yeah.
The rate of change is completely unprecedented.
Yeah. That is some pretty scary stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what else is changing?
What's that?
Tornado Alley.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea that it was moving east.
That's right. It's shifted about 500 miles east since like the mid-1980s.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And that means that states like Tennessee and Kentucky, they're now facing the threat of these powerful storms, and they might not be prepared for that kind of risk.
Yeah. It's like the hazards that we're used to are just relocating.
Yeah, yeah.
But speaking of adapting, this Smithsonian video, it just blew my mind.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
They're using satellites to track how animals are responding to climate change.
Oh, cool.
And they've made some incredible discoveries about, like, wildebeest migrations.
Oh, wow. Tell me about it.
It turns out that some wildebeest in Kenya, which scientists thought were just resident, just stayed in one place, they're actually making this epic 200-kilometer migration into Tanzania.
Wow.
Yeah. It's something scientists had no clue about until they started using this, like, satellite tracking.
That's amazing what technology can reveal.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
But the video also highlights all the challenges that these animals are facing.
Yeah, of course.
Like, all the fencing that we put up, it's fragmenting their habitat, and it's disrupting these, like, ancient migration routes.
Oh, yeah.
Makes you wonder, what will be the long-term consequences?
Well, that's a critical point, right? Even as all these animals are trying to adapt to these changes,
Yeah.
human development, we kind of get in the way.
Yeah, we do.
And it's not just about wildebeest either. Earth's changing face also points out that plant hardiness zones.
Right.
So these are the areas where certain plants can thrive. They've actually shifted.
Oh, wow.
About half a zone north since 1990.
So it's not just animals that are on the move, it's whole ecosystems.
Exactly.
Think about those cascading effects.
Yeah.
Like changes in the plant life impact the animals that depend on them, and then, well, so on. It's just like it disrupts that delicate balance of entire ecosystem.
It really does.
It just makes you appreciate the immense power of nature, right?
Totally.
But also just how interconnected everything is.
Yeah.
And, well, that kind of brings us to the Facing Future video.
Okay.
Those experts, they had some really insightful things to say about how we as humans understand and then respond to all these forces of nature.
Yeah, they're really thought-provoking. Yeah, one thing that really hit me was their discussion about the mother of all tipping points. Yeah, so that's the idea that ocean currents could slow down or even shut down completely because of things like, melting ice and changes in salinity.
Yeah, they were talking about the AMOC, right?
Yeah, the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation.
Right, and how it's crucial for regulating these global climate patterns.
Yeah.
But I found it kind of unsettling. They were saying that these currents are already showing signs of weakening.
Yeah, it's really concerning. And it just shows how interconnected the Earth systems are.
Yeah.
And how, these seemingly small changes can trigger much larger and unpredictable consequences.
Right.
They were painting a picture of a potential climate shift that's, so drastic. It's almost impossible to even wrap your head around.
Yeah, it really makes you think about, our own vulnerability.
For sure.
We tend to think we're in control, but nature has this way of reminding us that we're really not.
Yeah, and that's where the idea of experiencing enoughness comes in.
Yeah.
Which those experts talked about, and it really resonated with me.
Yeah.
It's all about shifting our mindset away from, this constant striving for more, which is often driven by, I think, fear and insecurity.
So, how do we apply that, practically?
Yeah.
What does experiencing enoughness look like in, real life?
Well, it's about finding, contentment and gratitude in what you already have, in the, simple pleasures in life.
Yeah.
It's about putting those experiences and relationships above material possessions.
Makes me think about, the tiny house movement.
Yeah.
Or even just the trend of, minimalism.
Totally.
People are choosing to, downsize and simplify their lives.
Yeah.
And focus on, what really matters.
Yeah.
Could that be, a way of experiencing enoughness?
Absolutely. It's all about recognizing that true happiness doesn't come from accumulating more stuff.
Right.
But from living in alignment with your values.
I think a lot of people are feeling that.
Yeah.
That kind of pull towards a simpler, more sustainable way of life.
Yeah, for sure.
But the Facing Future experts, they didn't just talk about, individual choices.
Right.
They also discussed solutions on, a larger scale.
Right.
What are your thoughts on, the ideas that they put forward?
Well, they presented a whole range of approaches, from investing in renewable energy and developing carbon capture technologies to promoting sustainable agriculture and protecting these natural ecosystems. I was particularly interested in their discussion of marine cloud brightening.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting.
Which is it's a geoengineering technique.
Right.
It aims to reflect sunlight back into space by spraying seawater into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I know, it sounds crazy.
That sounds like science fiction.
Right.
But they were saying that we need to explore all of our options, right?
Yeah.
If we're going to try and avert these worst impacts of climate change.
And while acknowledging all the ethical considerations and the potential risks, of course,
Right.
they did emphasize the need for a multi-pronged approach that combines both individual action and technological innovation with systemic change. They made a pretty compelling case for pushing the boundaries of what's possible, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. But technology alone, it's not enough, right?
No, definitely not.
They talked about the importance of shifting our values.
Yeah.
Of reconnecting with nature and recognizing our interdependence with all living things.
Yeah, that's crucial. We can't just rely on technology to fix everything. We need a fundamental shift in our worldview,
Yeah.
a recognition that we are a part of nature, not separate from it.
It's like we've created this artificial separation
Yeah,
between ourselves and the natural world.
right.
And, well, that's led to a lot of the problems that we're facing now.
We've exploited nature for our own gain without really fully understanding the consequences. But the facing future experts, they think that it's not too late to, change course,
Right.
to rediscover our connection to the natural world and learn to live in harmony with it again.
They emphasized the importance of individual action.
Yeah.
Like making choices that align with our values.
Yeah,
But they also acknowledge that systemic change is crucial.
absolutely.
We need policies like regulations that support sustainability
Yeah,
and incentivize responsible behavior.
right.
Absolutely. We need to hold our leaders accountable
Yeah,
and demand action on climate change.
for sure.
But we can't just wait for someone else to fix it, right?
No, absolutely not.
We all have a role to play,
Yeah.
whether it's voting for climate-conscious candidates, supporting businesses that, prioritize sustainability, or advocating for change in our own communities.
It all makes a difference.
Yeah. They emphasize that we need to act with this sense of, urgency, that the choices that we're making right now will have this huge impact on the future.
For sure.
And, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, right,
Yeah.
by the scale of this problem.
Yeah, it's a big one.
But they offered a message of hope.
Yeah.
They were arguing that we have the knowledge, the technology, and the human ingenuity
Yeah.
to actually create a more sustainable and just world.
Yeah, we really do.
And that's a future worth fighting for.
Absolutely.
We can choose to be swept away by fear and despair, or we can choose to channel all those emotions into action, into creating a world that we're actually proud to leave for future generations.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. But going back to the impacts for a minute, we've talked about all the changes on land.
Yeah.
But National Geographic also highlighted the really alarming rate of sea level rise.
Uh-huh.
What are the implications of that?
Well, it's a direct consequence of, all the melting ice sheets and glaciers.
Right.
And it's a major threat to coastal communities all over the world.
Mhm.
We're talking about increased coastal erosion, more frequent and intense flooding, and even the displacement of entire populations.
That's wild. It's hard to even fathom the scale of that potential disruption.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the physical impacts either. Right?
No, not at all.
So rising sea levels, they also threaten coastal ecosystems.
Right.
Like salt marshes and mangroves.
Yeah.
Which are so important for protecting the shorelines from storms and even just filtering out all the pollutants.
Yeah.
Their loss could have these cascading effects on marine life and coastal economies.
Exactly. It's another reminder of how interconnected everything is, how a change in one part of the system can ripple outwards and will affect the whole.
Yeah, and as we've been discussing, these impacts are often felt the most acutely, I guess, by those vulnerable communities,
Right.
ones who have contributed the least to the problem,
Yeah.
but they are often the most exposed to its consequences.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important to center equity and justice in our conversations about climate change. The solutions that we come up with, they need to benefit everyone,
Right.
not just the privileged few.
Yeah.
We need to listen to the voices of those who are on the front lines of this crisis, the ones who are already experiencing the impacts firsthand.
For sure.
We need to make sure that the transition to a more sustainable future is just and equitable.
Yeah.
That everyone has access to the resources and opportunities they need to actually thrive.
But with so much uncertainty and potential for upheaval, how do we even deal with the emotional toll of all of this?
Right.
Because honestly, it could feel really overwhelming.
Oh, it's completely understandable to feel a whole range of emotions,
Yeah.
fear, grief, anger, even despair.
Yeah.
We're facing a global crisis that's it's threatening our very existence.
Yeah, it is.
But we can't let those emotions paralyze us,
Right.
right? We need to find ways to process them,
Mhm.
to acknowledge how serious the situation is, while also cultivating hope and resilience.
So how do we do that? How do we go from feeling overwhelmed and powerless to feeling empowered and hopeful.
Well, those facing future experts, they talked a lot about the importance of reconnecting with nature.
Yeah.
Like they were arguing that spending time in nature isn't just about relaxing,
Right.
It's about like reestablishing this sense of belonging,
Yeah.
of recognizing that we're a part of something so much bigger than ourselves.
It makes me think about how we always talk about like climate action as like saving the planet.
Yeah.
But it's not really about saving the planet, is it?
No.
Like the planet, it's going to survive.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It might not be.
Yeah, exactly. It's about like saving ourselves.
Yeah.
About preserving those conditions that allow us as humans to thrive.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that our well-being is totally linked to the health of the planet. And they also talked about combating nature deficit disorder,
Yeah.
which is the idea that, us being increasingly disconnected from the natural world is having these negative impacts on our like physical and mental health.
So what can we do? What's like the antidote to that?
Well, it can be as simple as just taking a walk in the park, noticing the trees, the birds, feeling the wind,
Yeah.
just engaging our senses and being present in the moment.
Right.
And allowing ourselves to just like experience that awe and wonder of the natural world.
Yeah, it's about remembering that like we are nature.
Yeah.
We're not separate from it.
Right.
And I think that shift in perspective is like so crucial for motivating action.
Yeah, totally.
Like if we can see ourselves as part of this web of life, we're more likely to actually care about its well-being.
And that brings us back to that question of like, what can we do?
Yeah.
Individually and collectively. I know it can seem really daunting.
Yeah, I can.
But the facing future experts, they really emphasize that every action, no matter how small, it can make a difference.
Yeah, they had like some really practical examples.
Yeah.
Like choosing smaller cars, using public transportation more often,
Right.
Eating less meat, reducing your consumption in general.
Yeah.
It's about making like conscious choices in our everyday lives that align with our values.
Exactly. And it's about using our voices and our votes to demand that systemic change.
Right.
We need policies that support renewable energy, incentivize sustainable practices.
Yeah.
And actually hold corporations accountable for their impact on the environment.
So sure.
It's about creating a world where sustainability is just like the default.
Yeah.
It's the norm.
One thing that really stuck with me from that video was their discussion of like finding joy in simplicity.
Yeah, me too.
It's easy to get like, caught up in that consumerist mindset.
For sure.
The idea that we always need more and more and more.
More and more and more.
Yeah. But they argued that true happiness, it comes from experiences.
Yeah.
From relationships.
Yeah.
From living in harmony with nature.
Yeah.
It's about like redefining what it means to live a good life.
Totally. And it's about finding hope even when faced with all this uncertainty. Like they acknowledge the challenges, the huge task that's in front of us.
Yeah.
But they also emphasize like the power of human ingenuity.
Right.
Our capacity for innovation and collaboration.
Yeah.
And like they truly believe that we have the potential to create a future that is not only sustainable, but also more just and equitable.
And that's a future worth fighting for, right?
Absolutely.
Like we have a choice. Like we can choose to be swept away by that fear and despair, or we can choose to channel all those emotions into action, into creating a world that we're proud to leave for future generations.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I hope you're walking away with like a renewed sense of purpose, like a little spark of inspiration and a commitment to being a part of the solution.
Yeah.
Remember, the future is not something that happens to us.
Right.
It's something that we create.
It's been so fascinating exploring all these sources with you.
Yeah.
We've covered so much.
We have.
From like the actual science of climate change to like the impacts on weather patterns, on ecosystems, on human societies, and then all the solutions and the emotional challenges that we're facing.
We've really seen how interconnected everything is.
Yeah.
How our actions have consequences that like ripple outwards, and how we actually have the power to make a difference.
So what will you take away from this deep dive?
Yeah, that's the question.
What insights are you going to carry with you? What actions are you going to take? The future really is in our hands. Let's make a world where both humanity and nature can thrive.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.